Tonight on News 5 Live, no third wave of COVID-19, but cases surge in Orange Walk and Stand Creek District. No tours for Belize today at northern border, but students depart for Mexico. And the United Kingdom is poaching Belizean nurses. We will have the latest on brain drain up next on News 5 Live.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
Infinite Health presents Common Sense Herbs, everything your body needs, and are all natural, dairy-free, non-GMO, cruelty-free, gluten-free, and are FDA monitored. Everything your body needs. Distributor in Belize, Infinite Health, Birds Isle, Belize City. Telephone number 613-1914. That's 613-1940.
Nation,
Rain or shine, any weather. When we go ball, we go Berger. Quality paint, no faded colors. When we go ball, we go Berger. Let your imagination run free. Any color for this place. When we say ball, that mean it don't peel. Quality in every color, lifetime guarantee. When we go ball, we go Berger. When we go ball, we go Berger. Rain or shine, any color you need. When we go ball, we go Berger.
Introducing Edam A cheese, the A+ Dutch cheese to hit the Belizean market. As the name says, it is of A-class quality, the best Dutch cheese in Belize. Edam A cheese is creamier, less salty, and simply more delicious. Don't be left out. Get your A cheese at a supermarket near you. A cheese exclusively distributed by Unitex Company Limited. Call us at 610-3626 or 610-8910. Follow us on Facebook at Unitex Belize.
Behind every great company is an equally fascinating story of how that business came to be. At Home Protector Insurance, we have one such story. In the early 1970s, Belizean-owned businesses were numbered. Few had what it took to face the challenges. But in 1974, one Belizean man, Norman Moore, faced that challenge head-on. September 4th, 1974, at number 45 Picksock Street in Belize City, Home Protector Insurance came into existence. With a humble beginning of only 5 employees, Home Protector has blossomed to now having over 50 dedicated staff members and 28 agents countrywide. Through hard work, sacrifice, and determination, Home Protector, a Belizean-owned company, now offers multiple insurance products and has expanded into one of the foremost insurance companies in Belize. Innovation and drive will lead us into tomorrow.
Want to leave a lasting impact when you travel? Then travel locally. Make memories to treasure for a lifetime while making a difference. Make protected areas your next travel destination. With over 25 protected areas under the APAMO umbrella, the possibilities for adventure and education are endless. You can bond with friends and family while trekking through the jungles to discover natural pools and breathtaking views. Or take that snorkeling trip to the magnificent world of coral gardens and marine life. Then camp under the stars to end off that perfect day in nature. By visiting protected areas, you are helping to preserve valuable plant and animal life. You're building local communities and you're keeping our natural and cultural heritage alive. You have that power. Travel locally and make an impact. We invite you to visit a protected area near you and discover the beauty of Belize's wild places. APAMO, the voice of Belize's protected areas.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800 A Way Out or our cell phone number 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize with funding from the Engender and Spotlight projects.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, June 8th. I am Sabrina Daly. It's official. Salaries for teachers, public officers, and open vote workers will be readjusted to reflect a 10% reduction as of June 1st. Earlier today, Financial Secretary Joseph Waith issued a circular to the Office of the Governor General, Chief Justice, Auditor General, Solicitor General, and CEOs, among others, regarding a reduction in public service emoluments and allowances. The document also introduces new pay scales. The memorandum succeeds the ratification of the Public Sector Emoluments and Allowances Bill, which was passed by the House of Representatives on May 28th and in the Senate on June 4th, respectively. The bill is also the first piece of legislation to be signed by Governor General Forle Salam since taking office on May 27th. The joint union negotiating team, comprised of the leadership of the Belize National Teachers Union, Public Service Union, and APSSM, are vehemently opposed to the salary reduction and was in a deadlock with the Briceño administration for several weeks following failed negotiations. The union subsequently went on strike in what is the longest period of industrial action in recent history. The emoluments payable to a minister of government is effectively reduced by 15%. Their allowances have been cut by 50%. We will break down the new pay scales and who are most affected in Wednesday's newscast. It was rumored from last week that there would be a challenge to Patrick Faber's leadership of the United Democratic Party. This evening, Moses Shine Barrow, the UDP area representative for Mesopotamia, appears to be making a move. Via social media, Barrow announced an emergency meeting is being convened of the National Party Council. He says that, quote, Patrick Faber does not enjoy the confidence of the majority of opposition members of the House, unquote. He seems to be offering as a replacement Tracy Tager-Panton of the Albert Division, who Barrow claims does enjoy the confidence of the majority of the opposition members of the House. Barrow says the emergency meeting will take place before they, quote, proceed to write to the Governor General, unquote. There are, of course, only 5 elected members of the House, so it would not take much to conduct a no-confidence vote against Faber. Faber was at the center of a scandal last week when a video was leaked which captured him at the home of his 2-year-old daughter's mother. He is seen running off camera, and then there is a loud verbal altercation and slamming door. Last week at the Senate meeting in Belmopan, the UDP chairman, Michael Perifit, defended Faber's leadership, saying he remains the leader of the party and that any mischief makers should be ignored. On Monday, we told you about a COVID-19 cluster identified in Santa Cruz Village in the Stan Creek district. Well, apparently, this is not the only area of concern. This morning, the Minister of Health and Wellness, Michelle Shabat, appeared on Open Your Eyes to give an update on the several other communities. He says that while Belize is not experiencing its 3rd wave of the pandemic, since the data is not showing community spread, the ministry is monitoring the Orange Walk and Stand Creek districts, where multiple clusters have been detected and are now considered hotspots. As we reported, 21 cases were detected in the Santa Cruz village in the south, and there are clusters from an evangelical church as well as within a family in the Orange Walk district. But how were these cases introduced in these communities? Minister Shabat speaks of how the virus was introduced in Santa Cruz.
In the Stand Creek district, we have identified what the medical team calls index case, where it originated from. That person has been identified, Marlene, and that person is a staff member of the Santa Cruz school, no?
While an account of how many children have been infected so far could not be shared, the spread of the virus in schools is an eventuality that the country was attempting to avoid. 2 weeks ago, several schools in Belize City and up north had to close down after positive cases of COVID-19 were identified. It is not sitting well with parents or the Ministry of Education, as some 350 schools have been given the green light to reopen for in-person learning inside the classrooms. This is after over a year of remote learning. Today, however, Minister Shabat confirmed that at least 3 other schools in the Stand Creek district, including Santa Cruz Primary School and Independence High School, have also been closed after positive cases were identified among students and teachers.
Some 2 months into that phased reopening process, we have had to close 3 schools on a temporary basis. In fact, one of them is reopening, 2 of them are reopening again on Monday. So we obviously we share the concerns of everyone, but as I keep making this consistent point, we have to be guided by our public health officials. If the Ministry of Health, our public health experts, at any time, if they say to the Ministry of Education, it is not safe for us to have our schools open for face-to-face instruction, then our schools will be closed.
In the south, 3 schools have now closed to sanitize and to make sure that everyone in their schools are tested and so forth. But this is very concerning to us. And I'll tell you, we have reached out to the Minister of Education to discuss this matter and to discuss the way forward, because the number of cases we're seeing arising out of the schools is of great concern to us.
Last Friday, Education Minister Francis Fonseca said that unless a directive is issued by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, all schools will likely reopen in September. Minister Shabat says that, along with the Ministry of Education, they will continue to monitor the situation. Those additional cases have pushed the country over the 100 mark once again. For weeks now, the number of active cases has been low, despite several clusters popping up here and there in schools and at the Princess Casino. But with an additional 38 new cases identified over the weekend, the country now has 120 active cases. Interestingly, this time around, the majority are female. But what is even more concerning for the Minister of Health and Wellness is that a number of students and teachers have tested positive.
Yesterday, we had 38 new cases reported, with the majority of them coming out of the Stand Creek district. Right now, we have 1 person in our ICU, and we have 4 other persons hospitalized. So I think what we've seen over the past week is a spike in numbers, and what is especially concerning for us, Marlene, is that we're seeing this among students and teachers, and this is of great concern for us.
Before we get to additional details about the COVID-19 situation in the country, the Minister of Health and Wellness also confirmed that about 25 to 30 nurses of the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital are leaving the institution to pursue opportunities outside the country. Minister Shabat says that millions of dollars have been invested in the COVID-19 units across the country. including the National Referral Hospital in Belize City. But on Monday, News 5 confirmed that 5 nurses from one unit alone will be heading to the UK. So, with the healthcare system already overwhelmed by the pandemic due to a shortage of nurses, we asked Shabat about this critical human resource issue.
I believe that we are going to be having about 25 to 30 nurses leaving from, particularly, I believe, from the Carl Huchner Hospital. As a government and in communication with the Minister of Immigration, we are looking at the cost of the work permit for nurses, and some overtures have been made in that direction. But the shortage and the potential increase in shortage is of concern for us, and it is something that we continuously address. You know, we get some nurses through the Cuban Brigade. We're looking at Nicaragua to see if we can get some from there. We usually get some nurses out of Nigeria, and the largest amount of nurses come from the Philippines. And so we continue to look around to make sure that we don't have the significant shortfall that could arise because of that whole work permit issue.
Minister Shabat says that another challenge is trying to counter the benefit packages offered by other countries. The Minister of Health and Wellness has once again made an appeal for teachers to get inoculated. Currently, about 47% of the teaching population has received a first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. There is also a campaign to get more Belizeans vaccinated, while working with the business community and opening up Phase 4 of the vaccination rollout exercise. But with an increasing number of children testing positive, Minister Shabat was asked if the government is considering offering vaccines to children.
We started in the thousands when we just began per day, which was great. I can tell you that we're averaging anywhere between 500 to 600 on average. Yesterday we had a pretty good day. We had over 870 people vaccinated yesterday. Now what we're doing is we're teaming up with some of our businesses to provide incentives to people who get out and get vaccinated. We're also looking to see, Marlene, how we can ease up, how we can allow people who have been fully vaccinated some other measures of freedom, so to speak, that those who have not yet been vaccinated would not be allowed to enjoy. In terms of vaccination of young people, you will know, Marlene, that Pfizer is one of the vaccines that has been approved for children between 12 to 18 years old. And so we are actively looking to see how we can acquire some. Obviously, the next stage of vaccination has to be that age group.
Mm-hmm. What phase are we right now at the rollout?
We're at Phase 3. We are at Phase 3. We are planning to open up Phase 4 shortly. And I expect in the next couple of weeks that's going to happen.
Later this week, a third shipment of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is expected to arrive in country through the COVAX facility. But the Ministry of Health and Wellness is also in the process of acquiring the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. As it relates to the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, there is need for cold storage facility, which the country is procuring later this month.
We are expecting to receive some in country, I believe, sometime around the 17th or 18th of this month, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I have those dates correct, but I can tell you that the month of June, we're expecting some of those freezers. And again, it is in line with the discussions we've been having to acquire the Pfizer vaccine and to target that 12 to 18-year-old population. We are working through the African platform, which we were dealing with through CARICOM to acquire the Johnson & Johnson vaccinations. We have made a down payment for 115,000 doses. We are expecting those to be in country, Marlene, by August of this year. At the ministry, we continue to look for other vaccines, especially the ones that have received emergency use authorization from the World Health Organization. Yeah. That's our standard. And so as the World Health Organization recognizes more vaccines, we actively try to see how we can acquire them for our citizens.
This week, Belize received a $500,000 grant from the Central American Bank for Economic Integration to put towards the fight against COVID-19. A release from CABE says the funds may be used for the purchase of medicines or medical supplies, communication campaigns, and other efforts. All member countries of the Central American Integration System, better known as SICA, were allocated these funds in the same amount. Coming up, Belize's creditors give the country some breathing room, and their regional counterparts express support for Belizean teachers. Details after the break.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "What is man that you are mindful of him, the Son of Man that you care for him? You made him a little lower than the heavenly beings and crowned him with glory and honor." A young boy 3.5 years of age was visiting the Cincinnati Zoo with his mother in May of 2016. He suddenly slipped away from her, crawled through protective railings and hedges 3 feet high, and fell 15 feet below into the moat of a 400-pound silverback gorilla. For 10 terrifying minutes, the mother and others watched with horror, fearing for the child's life. The gorilla, seemingly agitated by the noise from the crowd, grabbed the young boy and pulled him through the watery moat to another visible location. Finally, the security staff, fearing for the little boy's life, made the decision to shoot and kill the gorilla. It was a decision that resulted in a public outcry against the staff at the zoo by more than 3,500 people on social media. How sad it is that mankind has developed such a low estimate of the value of a human life. How sad that people are being shot and killed in their homes and schools, on the streets and in their jobs and in places of business by those driven by drugs and alcohol and anger, hatred, passion, greed, and through such godless acts show no sense of value for human life and have no fear of God. Man is made in God's image. Man is God's crown jewel, and we had better be seeing one another through the eyes of God. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
So I'm going to wonder if by chance I could get your number. Digit. Nice.
Of course, you have digital, right?
Yeah, of course.
The truth is, your credit lasts way longer with Digi. Like if you top up with like $30, that could last you 90 days. With the other guys, that must say 60. Then with the other guys, you have to use all of your good prime credit before you even touch your bonus credit. But with Digi, you could use your bonus credit before you even touch your prime credit. Like, what are the point to have free credit if you can't use it how you want? So, what are your number?
Just give me one moment.
The truth is, only Digi offers nationwide LTE coverage, fastest mobile data speeds, and the best call quality.
Monday, Prime Minister John Briceño said in an interview on Channel 5's Open Your Eyes that Belize's international bondholders had been playing what he called hardball, but were, quote, shooting themselves in the head, unquote. Well, it seems the bondholders' approach has changed. This afternoon, Reuters news agency reported that the group of Belize's creditors has altered courses, saying that they now support GOB request for an extension of grace period to October for a coupon payment Belize missed last month. That payment was due on May 20th. While there is nothing yet on the Central Bank of Belize's website, Reuters is reporting that a creditor committee, which includes bondholders who had rejected GOB's proposal just last week, has, quote, reached an agreement with the government's advisors and intends to agree to the deferral, unquote. A story in the Financial Post says there is a new non-disclosure agreement in place, and that the bondholder committee hopes this, quote, will facilitate good faith negotiations based on supportable data and inter-creditor equity, and that the process will ultimately lead to a durable solution to the economic problems that underlie Belize's debt servicing challenges, unquote. Reuters says the $550 million bond, which traded as low as 32.5 cents on the dollar in second half of April, last traded at 38.5 cents, according to Refinitiv data. In a demonstration of regional solidarity, the Caribbean Union of Teachers have written to Prime Minister John Briceño asking him to reconsider the 10% pay cut for Belize's teachers. In a copy of the letter sent to News 5, the umbrella organization for regional teachers says it is, quote, perturbed by the recent events in Belize that has placed tremendous pressure on public servants, especially teachers and members of the Belize National Teachers Union, unquote. The Caribbean Union of Teachers says such salary deductions will create what they term as, quote, an unsurmountable degree of distress of teachers at this time, unquote. In fact, they call the cuts unconscionable and says that Belize's teachers are being made sacrificial lambs, even though they did not create governmental spending. The regional body says it represents 23 member groups from across the region, many of whom are based in member states of CARICOM. As we reported on Monday, the Forest Department has issued a cease and desist, that is, ordered to Gary Sewell and a co-investor, halting logging operations in the vicinity of communal land owned by the residents of Crique Sarko. In the wake of the directive, the Sarstoon and Temash Institute for Indigenous Management issued a release commend the department for the action being taken. A statement from SATIM confirms that consultations were held with the community regarding a private logging concession awards to Sewell. The release references the 2015 consent order by the Caribbean Court of Justice, and also goes on to say that the free, prior and informed consent process was never followed during a meeting held on May 21st. SATIM reports that it also observed irregularities in the private forest permit, PFP number 1321. Sewell's attorney, Arthur Saldivar, reached out to News 5 today and has committed to speaking on his client's behalf on Wednesday. For years, the main street in Dangriga in front of the bus station has been in a deplorable state. Well, works have finally begun in one of two streets in the southern municipality following the signing of a contract between the town council and A&N Construction. News 5 spoke today with Mayor Robert Mariano about the $103,000 contract to pave Havana Street and Aranda Crescent.
The bus terminal for Dangriga is on Havana Street, the main street. It's one of the streets that the first street you enter, then you come out the George Price Drive, which was Dangriga Valley Road. And imagine that the bus terminal is on this street, and when Belizeans travel to Dangriga, when foreigners travel on our buses, they see the condition of that road, and it's so embarrassing to have the street in that condition. And that is the reason why it's important for our council and our government to ensure that we get this road paved. The one to Aranda Crescent is also a street that, imagine that east of the street is paved and west of the street is paved, but there is a certain area for some reason or the other that is not paved. Whenever people drive on that street, there is so much stuff. And so it's a very, very busy road, and so that's the reason why we chose to pave those streets. As a matter of fact, we have plans to pave some more streets in Danvilla, but we are doing it at a time.
Niche is bringing archaeology into the National Museum and District Houses of Culture. The history of the Maya people, coupled with the benefits of forest gardening from a climate change standpoint, will be featured at the museum. That was the official message sent today during a brief ceremony held at the Government House in Belize City after an agreement was signed with an archaeology group out of Western Belize. News 5's Dwayne Moody attended the MOU signing and files this report.
The Memorandum of Understanding signed between the National Institute of Culture and History and Exploring Solutions PACT, the Maya Forest Alliance, will see the installation of an exhibit at the Museum of Belize showcasing forest gardens and the Maya of El Pilar.
We are welcoming to this partnership. It is one that we look forward to, mainly because it is one that we've always been partnering with archaeologists, and Dr. Ford is one of them that has been with El Pilar. But this time we're bringing archaeology into the museum and houses of culture. This partnership is not just between us and Dr. Ford, but also with the communities. It involves the communities, and we're looking forward to creating that narrative that is our story, looking at it from an angle of climate change and with the forest involved.
The exhibition will be in Belize City, but will include a traveling component to all houses of culture. It has a climate change element as well, and will show how indigenous peoples maintained biodiversity while reducing erosion and building soil fertility. The project is being considered as an opportunity to create avenues to tell Belizean stories.
It will highlight the traditions that are indigenous to the forest gardening of Belize. This exhibition will be mounted in several ways. Virtually, setting up our real languaging and narrative that we've been looking for. It will also be mounted at the Museum of Belize, and it will travel to all the houses of culture that we have around this beautiful country.
We're very excited here at the museum. It gives us the chance to showcase our talents, as you have said before. But what I'm really interested in is ensuring that we are being extremely open to our community so that their voices are the head of the narrative of whatever story we choose to put forward at the museum. So we're hoping that with this exhibit, we are going to create more partnerships and to include those who need to be included within this exhibit.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
After the break, more on Channel 5's interview with the Prime Minister as he talks about gangs and gender-based violence. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
The vaccine is now available. We here at R&G Life encourage you to take the vaccine. Belize, it's time to roll up our sleeves.
I'm rolling up mine because I know what COVID can do to families.
Because I want to go back to the way things were.
I'm rolling up mine so that I'm able to do music again.
Because I want to protect my family.
Things are slowly getting back to normal. The new normal, which includes getting vaccinated. Take the opportunity to get vaccinated at the RFNG Life Wellness Clinic Day on Friday, June 18th. We will also have blood pressure, cholesterol, and other screenings available. Get vaccinated. Roll up for Believe.
For a premium lubricant when you're on the go, or a premium brake fluid when you need to stop, choose the brand that's built for champions. Come to Premium Lubricants, distributed by Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited, 2 miles Philip Goldson Highway, Belize City. WhatsApp us at 606-4154.
1 year ago, an invisible but deadly virus altered our way of life. Upon assuming my responsibilities as Minister of Home Affairs, over 190 members of the Belize Police Department had contracted the virus. And regrettably, 2 of our heroes in uniform lost the battle on the front line of this pandemic. Today, I can proudly say that there are no reported cases within our department, and this is directly attributable to the phenomenal work of the healthcare workers and the team over at the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We are in this together. I believe in the COVID-19 vaccine. This is our chance, our opportunity, our window to return to normalcy. #GetVaccinated_Belize.
It is my time
to protect your life.
Don't wait to vaccinate.
I believe in the COVID-19 vaccine.
The vaccine is the best way to protect lives.
Don't wait, vaccinate.
Don't hesitate, Belize.
Vaccinate.
Be COVID-19 safe.
If you care,
love them.
Protect them.
Vaccinate them.
The Friends for Conservation and Development are reporting an escalation of illegal activities inside the adjacency zone. FCD notes that they have been using remote sensing, aerial reconnaissance, and ground patrols, which show that 1 kilometer of the width along Belize's border is, quote, heavily compromised. News 5 spoke with Executive Director Rafael Manzanero.
The report last week was basically more an indication of the amount or the intensity of activities occurring within the adjacency zone, which, as how we all know, it's basically 1 kilometer within the country of Belize. And of course, there's another 1 kilometer in the case of Guatemala. So that report was really more, noting of the intensity, as how we know it in the Chiquibul and the Caracol area. So we were looking at over, slightly over 67% of that adjacency zone that is basically active with either agricultural crops, cattle ranching, and also the destruction that was caused by forest fires. And so that is what you will see along that particular landscape. Unlike the chatero activity, the cattle ranching is one where Guatemalans are bringing their property, to say within Belizean territory, unlike the chate that was there already occurring within that particular landscape. And so there is a trend that is evolving. And cattle ranching has been also documented for the last 5 years. But today, what we are seeing is the extension of those areas being used, and even more farther away into Belize, and even beyond the 1 kilometer in some cases. Well, the main activity really to do in the context of that area there is certainly more patrols, to be targeted patrols, that is, because we do know many of the points we already know. And in fact, many of the points have also been validated by the OAS, by the Organization of American States. So we do know that many of those cattle fields are occurring within Belizean territory. What it needs to be done now is to really continue on what we started to do last year. There was an operation to dismantle fences, to basically get rid of the posts, the wires to be cut. And so that occurred last year. But that only reached only so far. So we need to continue doing more of those once those points have been validated and confirmed that they are within Belizean territory.
Manzanero says that beyond the Chiquibil Forest, along the north and south of the border, there is also illegal use of the adjacency zone. The Friends for Conservation and Development has also detained 2 Guatemalan poachers in the Chiquibil Forest. Raul and Victorino Rivera were detained on Saturday and handed over to the San Ignacio police. They were found with game meat and a baby peccary. The young animal was handed over to the Wildlife Referral Clinic. The men are expected to face charges for possession of game meat and wildlife in a protected area, as well as illegal entry. Rafael Manzanero says poaching is on the rise.
Because illegal wildlife trafficking, Andrea, is increasing. Although there's no one in Belize, I would say, that has a true figure on how much is being lost in terms of species and the economy that is found behind that. In the case of the Chiquibil, we do know that scarlet macaws and other parrots are basically targeted. In this case, with the Rivera, the guys that were detained, more than likely they also were after scarlet macaws. But they were found on their possession with game meat, which was also of wild pig or the wild boar, which we normally know it as the peccary here in Belize. And then they also had a young one that that more than likely it probably was the baby of the mother, the father that was killed. And so the 2 persons were detained and they were brought out and handed to the police department. The poachers, of course, they knew that they were within Belizean territory. They are originally from Las Flores de Chiquibil, which is in the Petén department of Guatemala. And so they basically were coming in, and in fact there were another 2 that managed to escape. So these 2 that were apprehended did not really have the firearms, but more than likely the other ones who escaped had the firearm that they have been using to hunt in the area. So we do recognize that poaching, illegal hunting is a problem, and in fact we do know that for quite some years. In fact, the white-lipped peccary was a couple of years ago was almost considered to be locally extinct in the Chiquibil because of the pressure that species really had within that area.
As we reported at the top of the newscast, the UDP's Patrick Faber is having his leadership challenged following a videotaped altercation with his daughter's mother. Since the video went viral, current and former area reps of the United Democratic Party have issued statements to condemn his actions. When he appeared on Open Your Eyes on Monday morning, Prime Minister John Briceño was asked for his take on the Faber controversy.
We do not, as I said again earlier at a previous interview, condone any kind of violence, especially violence against women. And to be aggressive either physically or psychologically, any kind, that's still a form of violence, and it's something that all Belizeans must condemn. And when I condemn that, I condemn Patrick Faber, the person, Patrick Faber, the man, that should not behave like that. Now, as a leader, we are held to a higher standard, and so we have to be even more cautious as to how we behave, and we should not be seen at any time being disrespectful or being rude, and that we have to have more patience than Job. And I try as best as I possibly can not to be rude to people, trying to be respectful and trying to be patient.
Last week Friday, a number of community leaders got together to hold what they call a leadership intervention program to address crime and violence in Belize City. A release from the group says that the initiative is led by the Behavioral Modification and Conflict Management Services, formerly CYDP. It brings together key persons from the community to form a task group with representation from the police, Wagner's Youth Facility, Belize City Council, as well as Francis Woods, Virgilio Murillo, and other persons in the community. They met with leaders of several of the 23 of the 27 groups on Friday. On Monday, Prime Minister John Briceño said that while he is not negotiating with gang members, his government is pushing for opportunities for at-risk youth.
You can't stop people who want to kill themselves. As much as we would not want that to happen, these people have a death wish. They're going after one another. And as much as we put the police on the streets and trying to monitor them as close as possible, they find ways. They find ways. So we just have to be going aggressively at them and trying to, whenever we find anything or get guns off the street or get some of these guys off the street, doing more community policing so that we can get better intelligence to be able to address that issue.
I don't think that you want to sit down and negotiate with these individuals.
No, we will not negotiate with no gangs, no criminals. But what we're doing is that we're partnering with the business community. For instance, State Bank, the cruise port that's being built. I was there 2 Thursdays ago, and a part of the program, what Nuri is doing is trying to partner some of these guys that need work and have been giving trouble to get them off the street and put them in areas where they can work. And so we have them, for instance, in State Bank, and we're looking at other areas where we can put them to work. Many of these people, it's simply because they feel that they have no other option but just put a life of crime. So we have to continue to work with the private sector to be able to create jobs and then to be able to get these guys off the streets and put them to work, and then see how we can get them to get a trade.
When we return, PACT turns 25. How the Protected Areas Conservation Trust will be observing this milestone after the break.
It's time for school. Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
What does live and let live mean to you?
Live and let live means everyone having the freedom to be themselves.
Live and let live means that I can be a mother and have a career.
It means treating people the way you would want to be treated.
And making sure your business is accessible for all Belizeans.
It means that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
It means to love your children no matter what.
It means to support people who face discrimination.
It means that men and women should be treated equally at work.
It means that everyone is able to contribute to building Belize.
It means saying no to all forms of discrimination.
It means love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
Continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to SMART, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
SMART continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your SMART broadband with SMART mobile services. SMART, bringing people together.
2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected.
Okay everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
A memorandum of understanding has been signed by the Belize High Seas Fisheries Unit, Oceania and Global Fishing Watch for the availability of tracking data for commercial vessels flying the Belizean flag. By sharing its fishing vessel data with Global Fishing Watch, Belize's fishing fleet, made up of more than 40 vessels, will be accessible to anyone, including governments, fishery managers, seafood buyers, researchers, and non-profit organizations. Vice President Janelle Chanona signed on behalf of Oceania Belize, while Director of High Seas Fisheries, Valerie Lanza, did the same for the Belize High Seas Fisheries Unit.
The signing of this MOU is a demonstration of Belize's fervent commitment to transparency and good governance. The use of the Global Fishing Watch technology is cost-effective, efficient, and enhances vessel monitoring. The expanded data sets generated in near real time also improve the quality of informed decision-making when it matters most.
Through this partnership, we will be able to increase our monitoring efforts to better prevent and detect IUU fishing and to explore how the use of additional platforms may contribute to the monitoring activities that are carried out at the Belize High Seas Fisheries Unit.
The Protected Areas Conservation Trust, a statutory body, is celebrating its 25th anniversary. Since its inception in 1996, the organization has invested over $34 million in the country's protected areas. To mark the milestone, PACT will carry out a series of activities over the next 12 months that will see fresh branding and encourage public involvement. Andre Marsden is PACT's multimedia officer.
The Protected Areas Conservation Trust began with the passing of the PACT Act in 1995, but we mark June 6, 1996 as the day that the institution became operational. So June 6th is marked as our anniversary date. Since then, PACT has supported the management and development of the Belize National Protected Areas System. Today, there are 103 protected areas in the BNPAS, and PACT works with government departments, with particularly the Departments of Forestry and Fisheries, as well as non-government organizations to support the health and sustainability of the protected areas. After 25 years, we've faced a number of challenges and significantly learned a lot of lessons along the way, lessons that we have adapted to and that we're hoping to continue to adapt for at least another 25 years.
What does this 25-year milestone mean for the organization?
A couple of the ideals that we've always aimed towards have been sustainability, vision, and steadfastness. It's one of the things that have shaped the development of PACT for the past 25 years. So the fact that we have made it to a quarter of a century and continue to do the important work of supporting Belize's protected areas that not only serve as tourist attractors, but serve very practical purposes for the daily lives of Belizeans. They support our industries, they support our economic development, and they're also areas that are very rich with our diverse culture. The fact that we have been able to do that for the past 25 years is a significant accomplishment and one that we really want to focus on as a milestone that not only marks where we've come so far, but is a good place to look towards the future.
Job seekers may be interested to know that openings in the public service will soon be advertised on a new job search website launched today. According to the ministry, the new site is expected to increase the number of qualified applicants and to make the application submission process easier. Tutorial videos are also available. In other news from the Ministry of the Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform, last week there was a 3-day workshop for finance officers. The aim was to address the specific roles and responsibilities, review accounting and payroll procedures, and identify challenges officers encounter on the job. Financial Secretary Joseph Waite spoke about the need for the training.
It's a part of a wider project where the government of Belize is trying to improve its public financial management. And it has several aspects, but one of the key aspects is training and refreshers for serving public officers, particularly at the middle to senior level, in the accounting and in the finance officer division, and hopefully we can do something at some stage for the not only the finance officer but the administrative officers as well, because of the interconnection. But today's is almost like a refresher to share experiences, present main topics, and there'll be several lectures presentations during the course of today, and then of course general discussions, Q&As, shared experiences, and we have quite a wide cross-section of ministries here, and each can say how they interact with each other and what common problems are, what common solutions may be.
69 officers participated in the event sponsored by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform, with support from the European Union, funded by Public Financial Management Support Project. Just ahead, News 5's Paul Lopez plays tourist. Find out if he would be allowed in our denied entry with the COVID protocols now in place at the northern border. But first, here is the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
For the best built tools with the best performance and service, Hilti is the brand you can trust. Our warranty program is second to none. Hilti will repair or replace any tool that breaks as a result of materials or manufacturing defects for 20 years. Get 2 years of no-cost wear and tear coverage, including parts. Hilti, the best tools with the best coverage. Available at Benny's Quality and Savings.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
Why, Tony?
Why, kid, where you going, man?
I actually come see you because I need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just ran out of the last batch, must have been like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have anything? Where you going?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, you can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
The northern border has been reopened for approximately 9 days, and the agencies on the ground are confident that the protocols in place will allow for safe travel into Belize by foreign tourists. News 5 Paul Lopez was given a tour of the Corazon facility today, courtesy of the Belize Tourism Board. He got a first-hand look at the entry process foreign tourists must undergo by moving through the process himself.
The Belize-Mexican land border was closed to all travelers at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. But that has changed. And now, foreign tourists are allowed to enter Belize through this land border entry point. Today we are here to find out just what that process looks like in COVID-19 times. From the bridge that separates Belize and Mexican territory, site manager at the northern border, Ken Gladden, and I made our way to the first check-in station where we were met by hospitality personnel. Inside the Immigration and Nationality booth, immigration officers first sought to ensure that persons wanting to cross the border are genuine tourists.
After that, we go to your reservation, your PCR.
Mexican nationals traveling to the Corazon-free zone do not undergo the same process at this point. These eager shoppers are simply greeted by hospitality and directed to the Corazon-free zone entrance. There they will undergo a similar process. From Immigration and Nationality, we went to the health officials inside the Ministry of Health's booth.
Sure, here you go, sir.
A foreign tourist's travel history is required. This includes the length of time the visitor has been traveling and what route was taken to arrive in Belize. Health officials make a copy of the PCR test after verifying that it met the required 72-hour standard. The original test documents are kept at the border. In the event, let's say for argument's sake, I don't have a PCR test,
well, we will just
what happens now?
We will just ask you to go to the cashier.
Yeah.
And we provide a COVID test and a fee of $100.
A receipt is given which allows for the traveler to take the COVID-19 test. Once the all clear is given, the visitor is required to leave the border in a Gold Standard Hotels vehicle or a Gold Standard taxi.
The protocols that are in place now are very, very stringent and strict. We have full confidence the way how it is working, and we don't have any real complaints. If there is any complaint or if there is any glitch, the Ministry of Health and Tourism, they collaborate together and they work it out and they do changes. Actually, there's a change already that was made. Tourists used to come like one time. They used to book for one night, and now they have to book for three days in the country.
Today, except for 3 students traveling to Mexico, no tourists made their way into Belize, at least not during our 2-hour visit. The northern border remains desolate grounds with little to no traffic into Belize and empty checkpoint booths. But as the weeks progress, it is expected that traffic through this land border will increase, which many hope will translate into a much-needed boost for the economy.
Since the opening from the 31st, we have a trickling of, let's say, an average of 10 tourists daily coming in, which is very good for tourism. You know, we need this country to open up back, and I think this is a very it's very good for the country to stimulate the economy.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
As we said, Ken Gladden is the site manager at the northern border entry point. His job is to ensure that there is efficiency, that protocols are being adhered to, and that no tourist is entering Belize as a COVID-19 positive case. There are standards in place, even for taxi drivers.
The gold standard transportation is out here. We have the operators out here who are well qualified, and they are the one that pick up the tourists and take them to their gold standard destination, their hotels.
Do you have tourists that say we want to go on our own, or we want to do things on their own, and how do you deal with that?
Up to now, no, but if they do have that, they cannot do that because the gold standard taxi are well trained and they know that is not supposed to happen.
How important do you see your job in, one, keeping the country safe, and two, ensuring that this much needed finance comes into the country?
Well, the protocols that has been set in place is very strict and stringent. It works, and for now, if you are seeing 10 tourists come daily, well, that is good sign that the economy will surely receive them and they will play their part.
And finally, from the northern border, the entry point sits only a couple of miles away from the state of Quintana Roo, Mexico, where over 2,000 positive COVID-19 cases have been reported over the last 2 weeks. While we have heard top local officials say that they are monitoring the situation in both Mexico and Guatemala, we asked Gladden how much of a threat he believes these numbers pose to his staff on the ground.
We are definitely aware of that, but like I said before, the protocols that have been set in place has been working perfectly. You can actually look at how the free zone operates, and you see there are thousands of travelers that visit the free zone, and there is 0 case. Also, the free zone, the protocols that have been put in place have been working perfectly, just like the one set out here for the opening of this first phase opening.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.